Hello, hello. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Figured you guys didn't need to see my face, and I wanted to jump right into the game here, Disco Heist Laundry, to give you as much of a playthrough, how to play, learn while playing, setup, stream, video as I could. So obviously I cheated a little bit because I've set some things up on the table, but I do want to go over some setup things that I've already done and sort of show you how quick you can get to the table in general. Um, so, lose power? No. Okay. Um, so, I've obviously set out the board and all the cards, and I've randomly dealt out all the city tiles. You create a random city every time you play. And obviously, the police always start in the police precinct, and the players will always start in the safe house. All players start with 0 laundered money and their wanted level at 0. And then one of the first things you'll want to do with your group is decide how long of a game you'll want to play. And you'll do that by setting up, this heist deck and this timeline. The game's broken up into 3 acts, acts 1, 2, and 3. And you'll decide how many heists are in each of those acts. So you'll simply shuffle them up. I chose sort of a normal game, which is 3 of each. And you'll put the end of act card after that. Then you'll do the next 3 heists, then the end of Act 2 card, and then the 3. And this final end of Act 3 card is what signifies the end of the game. So you'll sort of have to build that stack and put that there. The available crew cards that you'll be recruiting throughout the game just go up here. They're shuffled up, and you deal out a market. And then you're pretty much ready to go. The last sort of step is that each player will choose a kingpin to represent and then take their starting resources. So again, I really wanted to use this video as a chance to teach everybody what's going on, and they can obviously ask questions as they go, but I wanted the video to sort of be able to live on as a tutorial as well. So I have some of the kingpins here. They each have a passport card sort of representing their identity. So I'll choose, I've already sort of thought about this, and I'm going to go with 2 characters that play very differently, so I can highlight different things in the game and in the stream. We have Luca Bonacelli and Priya Kumar. Most of the abilities on everybody's passports are the same. That bottom one in the red box right here is a unique passport ability for only that character. And then obviously you'll see at the bottom here, that's our starting resources. And then every kingpin has a type associated with them. Luca is muscle. Priya is a thief, safecracker type thief. So what you'll do once everyone selects their cards in the game is you'll give everyone their passport card. Everyone will choose a color, and they'll have their own sort of bank of these goon meeples. And I should note that for the stream, we're using like prototype parts. So I've 3D printed our goon meeples and some of our police wood meeples that will be wooden meeples that are painted in the final production. But in order to have a good looking prototype that represents the size and pieces of those, we've 3D printed some components. So keep in mind things like this goon will be double printed on both sides, and be wooden instead of plastic in the final production. So once you take each of your character cards, your passports, you're going to take your starting resources. So Priya has 4 goons to start, 5 tools. This is one of the resources. Tools, they're typically used to recruit and hire crew members. You also need tools to sort of do the heist. And then she starts with 2 intel, and intel is represented by this sort of microfilm purple chip. So that's her starting resources. And last but not least, she has 5 chips. We have different denominations here. So I'm going to take a 3, which is red, and 2 whites. You can think of crowns and chips, poker chips, as potential points. You're going to launder those to make money to score your victory points. So she's set up. The last thing you'll take is all of your kingpin cards. They'll have a back associated with whichever kingpin you've chosen. And you'll want to take that as your hand as well, and then place your kingpin in the safe house. So likewise, this player has their 5 cards. They start with 6 goons in their supply, 4 tools, 2 intel, and they also start with 5 chips. So take a 3 and a 5 again. And we are all set up. You place I guess the last step is you place the first cop number 1, in the police precinct. And then the way patrols and police work in this game is that they are randomly sort of assigned via this die, but you always sort of know where they're heading. So, we rolled a 5. You'll notice there's these, I call them addresses or block numbers. So 5, we know that this policeman is going to head to the jewelry store first. And we will place the kingpin there. And then everyone starts with a starter heist. So everyone you'll notice that there's no heist sort of on the board or in this market at the start. That's by design. Everyone will start with a starter heist. So you'll sort of randomly shuffle these up and deal 1 to each player. So we'll give Priya the dine and dash at the restaurant, and we will give Luca the breakfast stick up at the diner. So we're all set up. The last step is to figure out who goes first. We typically use the score tracker over here to show who goes first, and the person in last place goes first at the start of the round. But if there's a tie, the person whose score marker is on top, in this case green, will go first. So that is basically set up. It shouldn't take too long. All the extra heists that we didn't put in our timeline are set off to the side. You'll see that with some of the passport abilities you can use, there's ways that if you miss a heist on an opportunity, or if there's another heist you want to go for, you can use intel to case the joint and pick one of those heists to potentially go after to score later on. I do have these safes. These will mark the starter heists only that character can do. That's our personal heist. They're all worth about the same amount of points and have about the same amount of setbacks. And only that player can score that heist. But the heists that come out on the timeline will be public. Whoever gets to them first and heist them will score them. And we'll mark them with these vaults, or safe meeples, which for now we'll just put off to the side. I like to mark them here so when the cards come out, I know to fix them. Right now, you do start the game sort of incognito. We have a wanted level track up here. And as long as you keep your heat under this 3, this first star, you're basically not wanted. You're incognito. No one knows of your crimes. Police will walk right by you. When you get to 1 star or above, you can be arrested, you and your goons. But the cops are sort of lazy in this first phase. They'll only arrest you if they landed directly on your space. And then obviously as you travel up to 7, they'll arrest you if you're adjacent to them. And then 10 is when they sort of are actively moving towards you. But let's get to some more rules. I did set out these. We have reference cards in the game. 1 card sort of covers all the iconography. On one side, it's your criminal's guide to your icons. And then the other side shows you sort of all the icons and cop reminders of how the cops move, which is sort of related to the scoreboard over here. And then the other The other card sort of gives you more an overview of the rules. You have a round overview, which goes through player turns and the end of the round. And then on the other side, it's a guide to your exact turn. And I'll go over some of these details. Obviously, I'll be running through this now as we start playing the game. But those are here for people that need them. But I'm going to walk through this here. I'll put this reference card on the top. I'm going to walk through a turn because that's sort of how everything starts. So again, the game is broken up into a series of rounds. During a round, every player takes their turn. Then the timeline advances and the police activate. Then player turns happen again. And then as a result of that round ending and the timeline progressing, we will occasionally run into end of act cards. And there are 3 acts in the game, which will, at the end of the 3rd act will signify the end of the game. But at the end of each act, there's a turf war for control of the city. There's some light area control, if you will. As always, as I'm going through stuff, feel free to put your comments in the stream. I'm going to try to get through and teach sort of all the basics that I think you would need to play and go through some turns. And then I'll sort of close out the stream by reading through any comments and putting those up and getting through those before I sign off. So with that, I'm going to start. We've got a start of a new round. The player in last place goes first. Green is on top, so they're going to start. And the first step of a turn, step 1, is to play a card to your montage. So I'm actually going to move some of this stuff for Luca over so you can sort of see the montage better. Because the way these cards are designed is you can play them in your montage, and then as you tap them and exhaust them, you can cover them up and leave things at the top because you only need the data on the top once you've exhausted a card. So every character starts with 4 of the same cards. Everyone has a recruit card, a steal card, a boss card, and a launder card. And then each kingpin has a unique special card. In Luca's case, it is the Italian muscle card. He's sort of our mafia boss persona. So most of the time when you're playing a card to your montage, you are picking an action that you want to do, and you can choose a stronger action that will potentially generate heat, moving you up this wanted track, which is obviously negative because the cops will be more aware of your presence. But you can also choose a lesser action that has less heat. Most of these cards generate resources. So recruit is going to get you more goons to your gang. Steal is how you get more tools. And they all have unique tap actions, which will let you hire people, heist. We'll go through all that as we sort of play. The important thing to note is that the launder card is the card that brings all of the cards back to your hand. So it's the card that as you play out cards to your montage and they grow, it's the card that's going to bring back everything back to your hand. So with that, I'm going to get started. Step 1 is you play a card to your montage. These cards do a variety of things. They mostly gain resources. They can also deploy some of your gang into the city. You can potentially shake down the city for resources, and they also help you set up heists and sort of plan for what you're doing. So I'm going to start with what Luca sort of does sort of well. He starts with a lot of meeples because he wants to get them out in the city to shake down the city for loot and collect that protection money. So I'm going to pick the boss card, which says deploy 1 goon or deploy 2 goons and gain a heat. And I am going to gain a heat and deploy 2 goons. So the 2 goons come from my supply over here, not from my bank. And I can put them wherever I currently have pieces or presence in the game. Right now, we both start in the safe house, so my only choice is the safe house. So I'm going to put 2 goons here in the safe house with the rest of us. Now, after you play a card to your montage, that is the only action you must take on your turn. In step 2, we call that your plan, your crimes phase as part of your turn. These are all optional actions that can be done in any order. They include move around the city. Your movement is denoted on your passport. Here to remind you, everyone has 5 movement, but that movement is shared amongst all your pieces. So I can move all 3 of my pieces a total of 5 times. I can choose one piece to move 5 times, or move like 1, 3 in each one. The 2 goons one space. The other actions I have in this phase is I can exhaust a card in my montage for its effect. And then if I have intel, I can spend an intel to activate one of my passport abilities. But I should note that these passport abilities are pretty powerful and are only one time a game sort of abilities and bailouts and sort of extra actions. So you don't want to do them all the time. You want to be sort of save them. But if you do manage to stamp your entire passport at the end of the game, you will get some cash for it. So it's one of the few things that can add to your total during endgame scoring. So that is something you can focus on if you've been able to collect a lot of intel. But you'll also need intel to do your heists and spend on other things as well. So managing your resources, as always, in games like this is essential. This game for us at Rock Manor Games is actually one of the few games I would call sort of more of a Euro game. It was definitely inspired by Euros. And then because we're known for sort of heavy thematic adventure games and things like that, we put a very strong theme on top of it. But a lot of the mechanics we're going over are, the game started as sort of an experiment in making a Euro game. So you'll see some of that DNA come through, I hope, in the course of this playthrough. Okay, so we've deployed our 2 guys to the city and taken our thing, and we need to decide what we're going to do next. So I'll go over movement and how movement works. We have 5 movement, and the way you move around the city is pretty easy. To enter and exit a building is 1 movement, and you need to have a path. So the safe house has 4 paths. You can exit in all directions, but you'll notice that the hotel only has a path sort of from the north and south. So I wouldn't be able to move from here into the hotel. I would have to move, 1, 2 into the hotel. But just to give you an idea of the way it works, it's 1 movement to enter or exit a building with a path when you're adjacent to a path. And then each block that you move is an additional movement. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's just sort of how it works. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how movement works. If you have 9 movement, you only have 5. So I'm sort of going to have to decide what I'm going to do here. And I do have this breakfast stick up as my first heist. So let's head towards the diner. So in a future turn, I could potentially rob that. And I'll send my kingpin. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I do have an extra movement. So what I'll do is I'll do 5 and put my goon out on the street. I am not going to use one of my intel to activate a passport ability yet. And I'm not going to exhaust the city yet either to do this effect. So I'm going to pass on sort of the other optional abilities and end my turn here. And we'll go over to the purple player now. And she'll do a completely different action because while the mafia boss is sort of especially good at shaking down the city for protection money, Priya over here is especially good, if you couldn't tell by the blueprints sort of on her cards. She is the sort of mastermind planner and is quite good at getting intel. Her master plan card is her unique card that helps her get more intel and also gives her an additional tap ability to actually conduct a heist. So she's actually a lot better at planning and stealing the heists that are going to come up in this line. Because obviously there's several paths to victory. It's all about getting money, but you can get money by shaking down the city. You can get money by recruiting the best crew and heisting. There's a few different ways to accumulate points in this game. So she wants to get some more characters to her crew. So I'm going to play down the recruit action. The first recruit action is to pick one to gain 2 goons or 4 goons. If I gain 4 goons, I take a heat. And for her, I'm going to try to keep my heat low and play it a little safer. So I'm going to gain 2 goons from my bank to my supply. So I've done step 1, which is I have to play a card. And then the next step is I enter this sort of open phase where I can tap cards, use passport abilities, or move. And I am going to tap this card because I want to hire a card, a new crew member. So I'm going to tap this card, which is hire 1 card, hire 1 crew. And I have 5 tools here to spend. And you only pay this cost once when you're hiring a crew member. But the tool cost for the unique crew members is to the right. You can see here next to their name. The symbol and type they are is up in the upper right. That'll come in when we talk about heists in a little bit. And their cost is here. So the launderer costs 4, the bouncer only costs 1, the recruiter would cost all 5 of my tools, and the pusher only costs 1. There's obviously a master of disguise here as well that costs 2. I am going to go with the launderer for 4. And when you hire a card, she will go straight to my hand. So she goes right to my hand. I can play her next turn potentially. And I've spent 4 of my tools to acquire her. So we'll put those over here. And now I may move. I'm set up to rob the restaurant. So I may as well make my way down there. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can just get there. And with that, I'll end Priya's turn as well. And when this should get immediately filled when you buy somebody. So we have a cat burglar show up. And now we sort of finish the round. One of the good things about this game, which is sort of a tableau builder, montage builder in our case, is that the turns will become more complicated. So hopefully everyone's following along. The first few turns are pretty simple. So now what happens at the end of the round, the first thing we do is we advance the timeline. So we would draw a card, they push each other down the line if there were any, but right now we don't have anything. And we have the champagne caper at the bar. So you have the bar here, and we'll mark that with the safe here. So everyone on the board can sort of see where a potential heist opportunity is, because obviously one of the prerequisites for robbing a place is that you have someone there who can rob it. Okay, so we've advanced the timeline. That's pretty simple. The next thing is we need to move each police officer towards their patrol destination or siren. The patrolmen that start are marked 1, 2, and 3. So you can see this guy has hold him up. He has a 1 on his face. And they start off and they just move 2 spaces, and they always take the shortest route possible. So they're going to go 1, 2 towards the jewelry shop to check in on their patrol. And if and when they arrive there, we'll re-roll the die, the D20, to set a new patrol destination for that police officer when they've checked in on there. Obviously, those alarms can be set off when we heist and things like that. So where they're going can change, but it's usually a direct result of our criminal activities in the city. So that's the police. As we launder more money, the police will crack down on us. But again, the game sort of starts pretty easy. And turn order has not changed because we haven't done anything crazy with our characters yet. So we just go back to Luca, and he'll have his turn next. And I'll try to show you something a little bit different here. Take a few of the other actions that are available here. So I'll start with by playing the steel card to my montage. This lets me get 1 or 2 tools. If I take 2, of course, I take more heat. And let's take 2 tools. Luca's going to push his heat up a little bit more and play with the police officers. He's going to play a less safe game because he doesn't care. Now, the next part of my turn, we can move, we can tap cards, or we can activate some of our abilities here. So I'm going to move some of my characters around, and I'm going to try to go for some intel. So I'm actually going to move this guy 1, 2, 3 to head into the nightclub. Now I only used 3 of my movement. I don't have to spend all 5. But now that I've done my move action, I can't do something else and go back to moving. That's an important thing to note. I don't save the movement I don't use for later. That is my movement. I am going to now tap my boss card to shake down the city and then gain 1 heat. So I'm going to tap that and we'll walk through how shaking down the city works. So you'll notice that all of these tiles have abilities on them in these little signs. To activate those abilities, you need to shake down the city. And you always shake down the city from block 1 through block 20 in order. In case there's any sort of spending or conversion that matters, you always go in that order. And you just go where you have characters. So, for example, we're going to do it now. My kingpin is at the diner. For each piece that I have on the diner, I can activate this once. The diner increases my heat by 1, gains me a tool, and gains me an intel. Okay, so that's what the diner did. The safe house reduces my heat by 1, which is number 8. And then number 10, I'm at the nightclub. I may spend 1 of my chips, my potential points, to get another goon and another intel. So this helped me load up on intel, which I'll show you why I did that in a second. But that's the shakedown action. I've activated each of my pieces and the tile they're on that many times. Even though this guy was able to reduce the heat, at the end of the shakedown, my heat does go up 1. It's important to note that that's always at the end, because if you happen to leave a bunch of people in the safe house and subtract a bunch of heat, your heat still won't go down to 0. You'll still gain 1 heat at the very end. Okay, so my shakedown's done. So the next thing I want to show you guys is I've done my movement. I can't go back and move my other 2 movement now. I'm done with that. I've exhausted an ability. I could exhaust more abilities now that I finished shakedown. I could potentially go for my heist, but I want to show you a passport ability. So I'm going to spend 1 of these intels I got, and I'm going to stamp 1 of my passport abilities here. I'm going to do parole. So I'm going to stamp my passport here into the country, and parole lets me hire 1 of these people directly to my hand. So I'm going to spend 5 tools on the recruiter, because what I love about the recruiter is how flexible he is. He can basically get you every resource. So I love the flexibility of that card. So we'll add that to our hand. And then why not? We'll show you, let's see if we'll show you a heist here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to exhaust my other card to do this heist action. So we can walk through heist, because I think after this heist, you have almost all of the rules in the entire game. I think I've covered almost everything. So we're going to look at this heist card for a second here. And at the top right are the resources I have to spend. So I've got to spend 2 goons. And then the reward I'm going to get is on the other corner. So I'm going to spend 2 goons. I could spend them from the city if I had to, but obviously that deploy action is a card I've already spent and used. So it's better to spend from your supply over here and back to your bank if possible. And I have plenty of goons over here. So I'll spend the 2 goons. And I now get the reward for this heist. I've done the heist. So I'm going to get 5 chips. And there is a 5, so I'm just going to take the 5. That's the green chip. Now we need to look at the setbacks of the heist, and they're in this blue section to the right. And we need to count up the symbols we have in our montage and that our kingpin potentially contributes there. He contributes muscle. So you can see that first one is muscle. So that first symbol, he's muscle. He can bypass the first alarm. So the next setback is requires a thief or I'm going to take a heat. So I have got this recruiter, but he is brains, which is the puzzle piece symbol. So he can't help me. You do have an opportunity to discard and exhaust people to your tableau for their symbol during a heist. But he's not my tableau, nor would he help. So the only other way to avoid this heat is to spend an intel. So you could spend an additional intel to get past any sort of obstacle. Each intel will get you past one of these setbacks. So that's why it's such a valuable resource. It's early in the game, so actually I'm going to take the heat, and this heist has been completed. We've done a quick stick up at the breakfast during the diner, and I'm just going to put that offside, face down, so it doesn't distract me. I've already gotten my reward, but I do have to go up one more heat. And Luca's going to end his turn there. He's done plenty there. So we're going to move on to Priya, and we're going to see what she can do. She's going to play the Launderer down. And it's pick one, gain 2 tools or 1 intel. I'm going to gain 2 tools because I only have 1 tool left. And then I'm actually going to tap the Launderer's ability because she, I'll hold it up for a second here. She allows me, her tap ability is to convert chips into laundered money, which is the scoring mechanism in the game. So we're going to get some free points, and that conversion rate is better than other opportunities elsewhere. So I'm going to spend 2 chips. I'm going to convert 2 of my chips into 5 laundered dollars here. This is going to be a great example because we are hitting exactly on this barricade symbol on the score tracker, which means the police are going to set up a barricade. They've heard of criminal activity in the city, and they're going to start cracking down on us now that we're starting to launder money. Also forgot to replace that. When you pass these police reaction spots on the score pad, the player that passes them simply takes the D4, rolls it, and takes the things that they're supposed to add or spawn into the map with them. I rolled a 20, which means the 20 block, and then I'm putting up a barricade, and barricades go in these crosswalks. So I have 2 choices of where to put it. I'm going to put it here because it actually helps me exiting the door here. It gives me more freedom of movement. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to move, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and enter the bar, and sort of bypass my dine and dash restaurant heist and go for this bigger champagne caper heist. And from there, I think I will end my turn, and we'll go, which will end the round, which means this timeline moves, and we have the next heist at the clothing store. Let's see if I can find that. Here's the clothing store. So our next heist, we have a new heist here. We have the Grand Thread larceny heist there. You'll note that these heists are worth more than, the heist you start with, obviously. They take a little bit more resources, but they have bigger rewards. And then after that, the cops move, and activate. So this cop's going to go 1, 2, head into the jewelry store. He's at his patrol destination. So we're going to roll the d20. We roll the 12, and this is going to move. He's going to head to the department store next. That's the end of the round. We go by order. So green is still going first, then purple. And purple is currently in the lead, having laundered some money. What I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to play to the end of Act 1 because that'll show you a turf war and it'll get all the rules out there. And then we'll go over final scoring and sort of how it works. And then I'll answer any questions before I sign off. I want to keep this stream, focused and sort of under an hour, around an hour. I don't want it to go on forever. So hopefully everyone's sort of learning the mechanics of the game and how it works as I go. Okay, so let's look over here. I'm going to try to set up a launder action with Luca so he can jump back with points here. So what am I low on? I feel like I should get some tools. I'm going to play the recruiter to get 2 more tools. I can tap him to hire another crew member, let's do that. Let's tap him to get the Master of Disguise for 2. And then I want to set up a launder action. So I'm going to go 1, 2. You can go on the outer section of the city. Those are sort of valid blocks. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. It's also usually a safe way to avoid the police if you're really cornered in the game. So that's something to note. Okay, is there anything else I want to do? I moved, I hired somebody new. I think that's good for now. I'm going to try to launder next turn and score some points. So I'll leave it there for now. And we'll go over to Priya. And we'll see if she can set up for this caper. She needs a tool and 2 people, which she has. And we have brains and thief there. We just need muscle. So maybe we'll try to get muscle. Yeah, let's try to get some muscle. So the first things first, I'm going to play my special master plan card for the character, which gives me an intel resource. It also gives me the heist action on the bottom of the card for when I exhaust it. So I played my card that I have to play. I'm in the spot I want to be at. But before I tap this card, I'm actually going to spin that intel I just got to stamp my passport and hire this pusher for 1 tool. And the reason I want to do that is because now I'm going to heist. And I am at the bar. So I need to pay 1 tool and 2 people. So I'll spend my 2 people and my 1 tool. That's going to get me 10. I'll just take a 10 chip. And then let's look at these setbacks here, because I finished this heist. So you'll see that the setbacks is we need a thief, which we have. I have that symbol on my passport. I have that thief symbol. We have the puzzle piece for the fire down there. And then I have this pusher in my hand, which I can play as part of a heist action to my montage and exhaust it. So I have the 2 of the symbols, and I have all 3 symbols. So I have planned very well for this heist, and I'm not going to hit any of the setbacks and make off with the loot. So we'll do this just so we clear that, so we know it's not there anymore. And then I'm going to run off and try to get away. And I will go 1-2 to the casino. But I'm not even wanted, really, so running away isn't even really necessary. Okay, end of the round. This goes forward. The timeline advances. You can see now that we know that the end of the act is coming. So that means there's sort of an area control aspect and a turf war coming. The new heist is at the car dealership, which is up here. And the turnover has not changed, but the cops still activate. He's going to move 1-2 towards his new patrol destination. Okay, let's finish this round out, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff the cops can do, and then cover all the rest of the rules. And then I think this has done a pretty good job of giving you an overview of the game and how to play. So let's do what we were going to do with Luca, which is launder. I want to show you guys the launder action. So the launder action is very important to actually score points. And it's also what's going to return all your cards to your hand at the end of your turn. So we play it to our montage. We can convert X chips into X dollars up to our threshold. Our threshold is calculated by the cards in our montage. You'll see we have 2, 1, 1. That's 4. So I could potentially, and I have 9 total chips over here. So from this, I could launder up to 4. But you also get a bonus when you launder through a business. So I'm at the warehouse, which has a 5 in the upper left. And each business can be laundered through once. So I can actually flip this card, take that 5 bonus for a total of up to 9, which means I could turn in all 9 of my chips, which I will do because why not, and launder them. So that's going to take me from 0 to 9. I pass that barricade spot, so I need to roll. I rolled a 1. That lets me put a barricade here. And then I also gain an intel when I launder, and my heat goes down 1. So now I can finish out the rest of my turn. I think it makes sense for me to move 1, 2, 3 into the car dealership, potentially set up a thief for that, and get out of the cop's path. 1, 2, 3. I don't want to. I'll actually go here. I'll go 4, 5, and move this goon up to the jewelry store. I think. Yeah, we'll make it a little more interesting. I'm going to spend an intel to play my hustle action and stamp my passport, which lets me play another card. And I'm going to use that to play down my Italian muscle card, which shake down the city, and then I get a heat. So I'm here, which will get me a heat, a tool, a point, potential point, and an intel. I'm here, which gives me a chip and a tool. And then I'm here, which minuses 1 heat. But then at the end of the shakedown action, I will also get a heat. And then I may as well tap this and gain a guy and deploy one of my guys. And I can deploy to the safe house or to the jewelry store or to the dealership because I have people in all those locations. So I'll deploy to the safe house. Now I'm going to end my turn. At the end of my turn, because I laundered, all of my cards return back to my hand. But I have managed to get more of my characters throughout the city to potentially score off the turf war, which you'll see in a second here. Priya's going to go next. What does she need to do? She needs to deploy. So I'm going to deploy 2 and take a heat. They have to go here, but it's going to set me up for a 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I may as well shake down the city as well. This will get me a tool and a guy. This one will get me 5 chips. And my heat goes up at the casino. I'm gambling too much. And the bar, my heat will go up again. And I'll get an intel and another guy. And that, I don't want to move anymore. I'm not going to spend any intel on any actions. In this particular example, actually, just to show you it, I'll spend an intel to stamp my case the joint passport, and that allows me to go over here. These are all the discarded heists from the start of the game. You can't look at these, but I could sort of pick. I know Act 1 heists are easier than Act 2 or easier than Act 3. So you know what I'll do? I'm going to start planning for a big heist in Act 3. I'm going to start planning for a big prison break. You can see all the resources and stuff that I need to save up for that. And just like the Dine and Dash, only I can plan for this prison break. By going there, I'll end my turn now. That's the end of the round. That's going to trigger this turf war at the end of the round. So I'll show you the turf war here. And the turf war card pretty much walks you through everything. First, you remove goons from the city. I wasn't able to set this up because we were so far apart. But if there were multiple goons of multiple gangs in a location, they would remove each other 1 for 1. And then whoever's left is left on the board. But we didn't have any conflict in just 2 players. We also spread out and didn't want to fight each other. So that wasn't the case. If a kingpin is on a location with multiple goons, the first thing they do are that the kingpin removes a goon. Then the goons remove each other goon for goon. But the kingpin obviously is never removed. So next, each player gains $2 for each location they control. Control just means you have the most pieces there. So, in both cases, so Luca has 1, 2, 3. This is the wrong color. This was purple. Luca has 1, 2, 3 locations for 6 points. That's going to bring him up to 15. You'll notice that he passed another patrolman. They're up to 3 patrolmen that can go on the board. So we'll spawn number 2 in the police station and roll. He's heading up towards the diner. And then Priya also scores 1, 2, 3 locations. So no one gained on anybody there. That takes you to 11. She's going to spawn that last patrol person here at 3. We'll roll where this person's going. They're going to 9, which is right there in the penthouse. And then last but not least, we're just following this turf war card. Each player gains an intel and drafts 1 crew member for free in turn order from the least to most money. So it's a way to build up your crew quickly in the first game. So everyone gets an intel. And then each player drafts 1 of these people for free. So she's going to start since she's in last place. And Priya's going to take the forger to her hand. And then he'll take the cat burglar. Why not? He'll go for the big money ones. These will be replaced. The turf war card's done. After a turf war, we still advance the timeline. So we're still going to have this third heist come out at the pawn shop right here. And now I think you've seen almost everything, at least all the basic mechanics of Disco Heist Laundry. A little bit of area control, resource management, hand management, tableau building are some of the mechanisms in this game. I haven't gone over how the police arrest you necessarily. That hasn't happened yet, but we'll go over sort of what happens else as things escalate here, because we're about to pass a few things. So the next thing we're about to pass are the phone booth meeples, which represent snitches. These spawn in intersections, and they look down. They're placed on four-way intersections. They look down the four streets, and if anyone moves through them, moves in these streets, their heat will increase by 1, and you'll remove the snitch. The snitch sort of rats you out of where you are, and your heat goes up a little bit. The next thing that can happen is we have these police car meeples and SWAT vans that can upgrade these cops. And then what happens is instead of these cops moving 2 spaces, they'll move 3 spaces. So, you know, this cop would move 1, 2, 3 towards they start zipping around the board a lot faster. And then the SWAT van obviously makes it so that these people move 4. So they would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially arrest you and remove your goon from the board, losing you that resource. And then last but not least, near the end of the game, the helicopter will spawn on the roof of the police precinct, and it simply moves towards the closest alarm, but it jumps to the next rooftop. So it would jump here, and it would arrest everyone in this building and on any of the streets surrounding the block. So the chopper can start chasing down and really eliminating all the colored meeples you have around the board. So at the end of the game, you're given one final launder action where you can launder out all the chips you've accumulated based on the total cards, your total card value of everyone you've recruited up to that amount. And obviously, if you fill your passport, you can get some bonus points, and you lose points. You have to bribe the cops off, and you lose points based on your heat. So if you're at 10 heat, you're going to have to spend 10 of your chips. It's never money. It's always your chips. So you're going to spend 10 of your chips before you launder. Everything you launder is always sort of safe in the Cayman Islands. So it's important to launder and get things on the scoreboard, because there's really no way to decrease your score once you've taken it over here. You can lose chips, but you can't really lose your laundered money. So hopefully that gives everyone a clear overview and at least a quick walkthrough of how to play the game. I'm going to play the trailer real quick while I switch back to my webcam, and hopefully I can answer any questions that have popped up in the chat for people that are watching. Otherwise, we'll sign off since it's been about an hour. So just give me a second here, and we will play. In case you haven't seen it, let me play this while I switch cameras. All right, so I'm back on my webcam here. Hi, everybody. You can see my face. I thought it made sense just to jump into the game there. Hopefully that trailer, after sort of watching a quick overview of the game, makes a little bit more sense. We sort of highlight some of the things without going into too much depth. Doesn't look like we have much questions here. Someone said they love the shakedown mechanics, so thank you for that as they were watching. I think that's a neat piece of the game. So since there's no questions, I guess we'll sort of sign off for now. Keep an eye out for Disco Heist Laundry. We have the pre-launch page up on Kickstarter, so if you're interested in following along, make sure you're notified when we launch. And otherwise, this will just be a great video that sort of hopefully covers at least the basics of how to play and set up the game. So with that, it's been a while since we've streamed, but thanks for tuning in. And if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the comments of this video, and we'll get to them at a later date. And thanks for watching. Thanks for showing interest in our games. Being a board game creator right now with everything is going on in the world is not the easiest thing. So we really appreciate people who not only support our products, but also take the time to learn more about our games or tell a friend about their games or just learn more and show interest in what we do. So we really appreciate it. That's it for now. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.